Greetings and welcome to another excellent chess video. So you want to get strong and you want to do it as fast as possible, this is the place to be. Now I'm going to show you how I do this. It's real simple. I'm going to teach you the way my dad taught me, and the way he did it is enhanced because I have added the things that I know over time that magnify learning. And this is the key. The thing you have to understand is that I am 62 years old and I am still getting better, and you're going to watch and look at what I do and you're going to say, I would like to be able to do some of that. And the good news is you can do some of this. How much is up to you. I'm just going to show you the techniques to use that will impress and improve your learning on your brain at a faster rate. So here, I'm going to show you, and I use terms that nobody else uses, and that's why my method works. It's real simple. This is what is known, I call this the Three Stooges formation. Now, to be honest, this is really the proper Three Stooges formation. My light just went off for some reason. But since this bishop guards this square, it's the same as if this pawn was here, all right? So this is my virtual Mo, Larry and Curly. And when I see the Three Stooges formation in front of this king, that tells me if I can get a rook or a queen on this back rank, it's a checkmate. Well, look, rook to d1, checkmate. Now, you might have a slow adjustment to what I'm doing, but once you make the adjustment, the skill building will take over. Now again, you see this king is in the corner. I still see a Three Stooges, Mo, Larry. Well, I don't need the Curly here. Hey, that sounds wrong. Well, I only need two of them, and I got two. So if I can get this queen on the back rank somewhere where it's not captured, boom, it's a checkmate. Oh, that's a checkmate. Well, it's not a checkmate immediately. This is a forced checkmate sequence. All right? So when we say it's a checkmate, we don't 100% mean it's instantly checkmate on that move. It's an unstoppable process. Queen e1 check. The only legal move he has is knight to f1, and then queen takes free knight, which is how my dad taught me, is the victory. He resigned. It was over. Now, one of the ones I made up myself is something called, sometimes your opponent just makes a blunder, and it's checkmate. Queen takes free rook, checkmate. Speaks for itself. Now, when I do problems like this to show you, and the thing about these problems is that these are random, they show up, I have no control, I don't have any, well, I could technically cheat and edit the videos. I don't edit the videos. That's why there's no cheating, because there's no editing. And you see my hands are busy. Okay? So my hands stay relatively in view for most of the video. I could cheat if I wanted to, but to be honest with you, it would take more effort. It's fine if you're a terrible player and have no skill. I'm the opposite of that. I have won many tournaments. There's a reason why I am doing what I'm doing, and it's all real. Okay, now, this is one of the things I call, and it's very rare, it doesn't happen that often in these problems. This is what I call the self-sealing checkmate. When the queen checks here on e1, notice how the queen, now, this would work with a rook as well, because the knight, you see the knight on h1 guarding f2. So if I had a rook, if I could play this move, rook to e1, this is a checkmate. But in a normal situation, if this knight is gone, queen to e1 is a self-sealing checkmate, because the rook would allow a king to go king to f2, the queen would not. So the queen has a self-sealing checkmate ability. That's a checkmate. Whether the knight's there or not, I don't really care. And this is the thing my dad would call know your checkmates, or be aware of checkmate formations because they will win you games. This is another one. Give yourself 2 minutes, see if you can figure this one out. It's fairly simple. All right, 3, 2, 1. I'm assuming you saw rook h8 check, king to g7 forced, meaning the only legal move. Okay, some people will say forced, some people will say only move. Sometimes we'll interchange the two. They're basically the same thing. So rook to h8, king to g7 forced, or king g7 only move, meaning only legal move. And so a lot of times chess players will say things in a shortened form, like only move means only legal move, shortened just to 2 words. So rook h8 check, king g7 only move, rook on 6 to h7. That's a checkmate. That's just a checkmate. He resigns. All right, the thing that jumps off the page at me is this rook battery on the H file. So I'm going to teach you one of the techniques I use called the brute force technique. The brute force technique is pretty much what you'd expect. Let's just take the most obvious move, rook to h8 check, play this mentally here inside of my hat. Inside of my brain. That's a joke. All right? So in my brain, when I'm in a tournament, this is called tournament face. Now my father would do it like this, and he would look like a genius, okay? So everybody's different. Some people do this. Some people cover their ears. I've seen some weird stuff. And my wife has seen it too, and she thought it was really super funny. So rook h8 check. What can he do? Well, he can't go to the back rank, so he can go 2 moves, king g7 or king f7. Well, can I check him with the other rook to get the ladder checkmate? And that's what we did in the last problem. It was a ladder checkmate. I should have mentioned that. So rook h8 check, king g7, rook 1 to h7. That serves a ladder checkmate. The point is the first rook guards the 8th rank. The second rook guards the 7th rank. Like a ladder. The rungs on a ladder. It's known as a ladder checkmate. There's the 8th rank. Here's the 7th rank. Checkmate. Know your checkmate formations, or be aware that they can exist. You don't have to memorize everything. Some of it's memory, some of it's just awareness, and let your brain take over. And you don't have to memorize everything. Now, one of the things you do need to memorize to a degree is recognizing this pattern. This is the rook checkmate pattern for kings. So when your king is in direct opposition to the enemy king who's on the edge of the board, this, sir, is a checkmate. And now look, it's a Three Stooges checkmate. You're like, that's stupid. There's no Stooges here. I got a virtual Mo from the king, a virtual Larry from the king, and a virtual Curly from the king. Certainly. Checkmate. All right. Now, once again, look at this devastating bishop and queen battery. Now, battery is when you have 2 pieces with the same power. In this case, dark square, bishop, diagonal. The bishop and the queen. Now, it doesn't do anything specifically. I can't play queen e7. Again, this is a shortcut for chess players. When I say I can't do something or he can't do something, I cannot do this profitably. Queen to e7 does not profit black. It profits white. Queen takes queen, bishop takes queen, king takes free bishop. You just lost the bishop. But I'm looking at this and it gives me an idea that, man, this king can't hardly move. So if I play this move, that's a checkmate. All right, now, one of the things I'm also doing here is what I call the Hikaru Challenge. And what's the Hikaru Challenge? What a good-looking question. The Hikaru Challenge 50-0. Make no mistakes. Very difficult. I've done it before, but it's a constant challenge just to test my might. Okay? So look at this thing here. We need to be aware of things that are going on the chessboard. And here I see this rook is just awesome on the E file. So his king, look at his king. His king has no move here, blocked. He has moves here, but look, what if I check him? If I go like knight to E6 check, Well, he just goes pawn takes free knight, idiot. All right. What if I check him over here? Well, now this uncovers the queen guarding the G file. And this is actually, look, when I move this knight away, if it's with check over here and he can't take it, it's a checkmate. There you go. It's just a checkmate. Sometimes it's just checkmate, man. It's not complicated. Now I'm going to teach you another idea that's really good, and that is what is known as a clearance move. And I'm going to make, normally you would hear it as a clearance sacrifice. That's kind of the dramatic phrasing. This is not a sacrifice. This is just a clearance move. The clearance move here would work. I can play, now notice that this rook would pin this pawn if my knight moved away. I could play knight takes pawn check. This pawn couldn't take it, but this one could. So he'd just go pawn takes free knight from h7 to g6. Thank you, sucker. So knight takes g6 check. The idea is good. The execution is terrible. So knight takes g6 check, double question mark. You're losing. How about knight takes bishop? Well, knight takes free bishop. And this is the key. My dad always taught me whenever he was doing these things for free. And what he didn't realize was that this narration plays inside of my brain when I'm in tournament face. So knight takes bishop check. He can't take my knight, so knight takes free bishop check. What are you going to do now, Bobby Fischer? That's my dad's favorite phrase. All right. Today, the phrase would be, what are you going to do now, Magnus? or Hikaru, etc. So knight takes free bishop check. The only legal move black has is king to g8. Now, he can always resign. That's technically not a move, but, whatever. It substitutes in the place of a move, but it's not an actual move. So knight takes free bishop check, king to g8, queen takes free knight. That's a checkmate because this knight guards the square. Goodbye. He just resigns. Sometimes your opponent blunders. Now look at this knight. It guards f7. It guards h7. Oh, queen hits that. That's a checkmate. Okay. Give yourself a couple of minutes. See if you can figure this out. Pause the video. Try to solve this. And if you solve it, fantastic. If you solve it, you need to learn to identify the theme, how you saw, that goes along with it, and I'll explain to you once I come back here in 3, 2, 1. The theme here is checkmate with a rook or decoy sacrifice. Sometimes there's more than one, and they're both correct. The move here is rook takes pawn check. King takes rook. Now notice we're in the Three Stooges checkmate formation. This is also the formation of a rook checkmate, of the king opposing. And opposition means you're in direct contrast positionally to the opposing king. Blah. Now opposition also tends to be a little more complicated. We'll get to that later. So rook takes pawn check, king takes free rook, the only legal move. And then rook to h2, this is a checkmate. But again, I got virtual Mo, virtual Larry, virtual Curly. So rook to the edge of the board. Hasta la vista, baby. Okay, what are we doing? Well, right off the bat, the thing that just jumps off at me is knight to g5 check. Now here's another thing. What this does, this knight moving away allows this rook to occupy something that I call the fence position. This rook becomes a fence. You cannot pass this, the king cannot pass the 6th rank. So knight g5 check, I'm just brute forcing this, right? It also, knight to g5 check, look at this beauty. When you see that, it creates this Three Stooges effect. It gives me a virtual Mo with the knight. This is blocked, this is Larry, and this is a virtual Curly. So again, if I can check him and put my rook on the back right, that's a checkmate. Whoops. That, sir, is rook takes free rook, checkmate. That's what my dad would say. It's because the knight gives us the Three Stooges formation. You see how powerful this is. You've seen it multiple times already, and we're not done. We're not close. Okay. Now here's an interesting idea. We are a rook down. We are in trouble. What are we doing? Now, one of the things we can do here, bishop to a6 gives us a skewer of this rook and this knight, but it's masked by my own knight. So bishop to a6 might be a problem. What happens is, what if he plays knight takes knight? Bishop takes rook. So we've given up a $3 or a $3 knight for a $5 rook. That's a good deal for us. Problem is, though, if we do this, bishop a6, knight takes knight, bishop takes rook, and now he can just play knight to c1, and this is defended. So we're not really getting anything here. The other idea would be, what if we take his knight? Knight takes knight. Rook takes knight. Oh, I see. Knight takes knight, rook takes knight. I could play bishop to a6. He moves like rook to e1 to defend this knight, and then I could play f6, attacking this rook. That's not actually good. All right, this is the question. What in the holy heck are we doing? Knight takes knight, rook takes knight, pawn to f6. Doesn't really work. He goes rook to h5. I don't like this at all. This bishop move isn't that great. Knight takes knight, bishop takes rook. He can just move the knights. This looks like a problem where it looks like that he's going to make a mistake. You can't rely on a mistake to save your position. My knight can't even move anymore. Knight f4, knight takes knight. I don't know, man. This is terrible. This is really terrible. Oh, I'm sorry. We're exchange ahead. I forgot I had the other rook there. That explains it. Okay. That was my gut reaction, but I was missing that I had rook on f8 mentally for some reason. I don't know. It's early in the morning, but that's not a good excuse. Don't make excuses. This is the lesson of that problem. Don't make excuses for you're able to, have a difficulty. You have a brain. Your brain is the superior force. Make it count. It's too hard. Unacceptable. All right. Now, here's the key. The thing here, I'm trying to think the way to explain this the best. The best way to explain this to me is that what I see, and it'll help you, I got to give you this information. There's different levels of information in chess you need. One of those informations is you need to know weak squares. And this is a weird time to explain it, but hey, it just comes to my mind when it comes to my mind. There's so much volume of knowledge to know in chess, all right? But what makes it important is the relevance. And the relevance is weak squares. Okay, at the very beginning of the game, you set the pieces up. The weakest square for white is f2 because only the king guards that square. And for black, it's the mirror image. It's f7. So you are constantly learning in chess at some point, and if I'm telling you for the first time, so be it. We want to, as a player of the black pieces, we want to concentrate on these f2 weaknesses. As a player of the white pieces, you want to concentrate on f7 weaknesses. And as a player of the black pieces, I want to be aware white should be looking at my f7. And as a player of the white pieces, black should be looking at my f2, whichever one we have. In this case, I'm black, and I'm worried about f7 for myself defensively, but offensively, I'm looking at f2. Well, I see bishop can hit f2. What this really shows me is this. My bishop opposes the king on the diagonal, which means this pawn on f2 is pinned. It couldn't take anything. So I can play this move, and it's a checkmate. Queen takes g3 is a checkmate because the f2 pawn is pinned, and my h8 rook controls the h-file. Checkmate, game over. This move just screams my name, rapid fire. Now, I will do that once or twice in a problem set just so you can see it happen, okay? You know, one of the things that makes Hikaru so devastating, his speed is blinding. But the real value of his speed is that his speed is a byproduct of skill. So it's impressive and flashy that he can play such great moves at such a fast rate. Don't try to match his speed. Try to match his accuracy. Now, you can't really do it. He's too far ahead, but we, try to make it to the top of the mountain so that even if we don't make it to the top of the mountain, we find we're way close to the top and we have done something that's really not easy to do. So by seeking to match his excellence or just get anywhere close, we're going to find that, oh, wow, I'm actually really good. I'm actually really good. I'm no Hikaru, okay, but I'm really good, and you're watching it happen right here. The move that jumps off the board, knight to f6 check, forking this rook. I don't see a better move. Check. Oh, that's a checkmate. Look at this rook. This rook owns a d-file. The bishop has a diagonal fence here across e7 and f8. So when I move the knight, the king cannot move to d8, the rook, d7, the rook, e7, the bishop, f7, his own pawn, and f8, the bishop. This is a checkmate. This wins the rook on h5 if I want to, but it's just checkmate. Sometimes a move like that takes longer to explain than it does to see and play it. All right, now this is another one. It's a checkmate. The knight was pinned by my queen. Okay, now it's fairly obvious, right? Queen is, he probably took my queen. No, he just plays queen to a8 checkmate. I was going to, work on this, whatever. So I got to play rook takes queen. Or if I don't, I got to go, I can make a couple other stupid moves. Bishop to f8, queen takes free bishop check, rook to g8, queen takes free rook check. Up here it's not a check. So rook takes queen for free is the best move. Sometimes it's just a blunder. All right, now this is a valuable formation knowledge. This is one of the things, to me, it's memorization. But you can figure this out too, so it's not a big deal. But when you see this formation here, this is the fianchetto. That's how you pronounce the Italian word. All right, the fianchetto. The bishop lives usually here on g2. Now the bishop is not there on g2, so this becomes the fianchetto position by a different sequence of moves. And one of the weaknesses is if you can control the long diagonal, which black controls, this is a checkmate. So this is a know your checkmates. Checkmate. It's relatively easy in this situation. Now, it's an interesting move. What in the heck? All right. Here's what I'm going to, tell you two rules. My dad had the most vital two rules in chess. Number one, know how to win the game. And it's really it's contracted. It's really know how to win the game situation. It doesn't matter what the game is, if it's tennis or football or golf, basketball, baseball, whatever. Know how to win the game situation that you're in for whatever game it is, right? But for the sake of chess, know how to win the game, is what it is. And it's a super powerful, kind of a mental reminder. The second most powerful is really the one that my dad said the most, and that was, what's he trying to do to me? Ask yourself, what is this guy trying to do to me? Queen takes free, queen check. Well, that's pretty good. Okay, so this gives us an idea. We cannot leave this queen here. Now, I could play queen to d3, and he could trade queens, which he probably would, because right now, you look at this, we're losing. We're a rook and knight down. I've got a bishop, knight, and rook, and I got a rook and queen. He's got rook and knight. Now, the difference is, his three pieces here are worthless. They have done nothing, and they're doing nothing, essentially. So my gut reaction here is to check him. Queen takes e6 check. King can move either to g1 or f2. He goes to f2, queen to e2 check, and now he's dog meat. All right? So queen takes e6 check. King to g8. King to b8, sorry. Looks like the right move. Queen takes pawn check. King to b8. And now we can hit him with queen to e8 check. Again, f2. If he goes to f2, I've got queen e2 check. I'm sorry. No. Queen to d7 check. And I'm sorry. If he goes king to c7, well, I don't know. I'm just getting it backwards for some reason. But so queen takes e6 check. If he goes king to b8, queen to e8 check. If he goes king to c7, queen to d7 check. King to b6, queen to b7 check, and it's a checkmate. He's getting checkmated here. All right? He's just getting checkmated here. This is a checkmate. Now, how do I know that? Again, the king lives in a 3x3 matrix, right? The king lives in the square that he's on, plus every square that the square touches is where he could possibly go. Now, the queen has got a fence position. Again, I'm the only guy that you'll ever hear that mentions the fence. So I'm going to show you the squares the king can go to and tell you what's blocking it. Queen, queen, queen. This is open, blocked by his own rook, bishop, and pawn, and queen guards this one. So when I go queen to b7, it's checkmate because the queen guards everything except this pawn guarded by the pawn. That is a checkmate, sir. Know your checkmate positions is what my father said. Okay. Sometimes this goofy stuff is enough. All right. So the move that comes to mind to me is not obvious. So give yourself 2-3 minutes. See if you can figure this one out. 3, 2, 1. Now, even if you failed to figure this out, but you looked at this mentally, that exercise is going to help you, and I'm going to help you by filling in the gaps of the correct move, and that's the key. The answer is queen takes rook check, rook takes queen, rook takes rook check. We've gotten 2 rooks for our queen. He's under check. He's got to move king to g2 or king to h2, and then we get to play pawn takes bishop. So we're going to win bishop, rook, and rook for queen. $5, $5, $3. That's $13. And I'm going to give him, depending, some people teach the queen is worth 9. Some people say it's 10. So I'm going to give him a $9 or $10 queen for $13 worth of pieces all day long, my brother. Pawn takes bishop, and look, you have 2 rooks and a bishop. If you can't beat a queen with 2 rooks and a bishop, you got more work to do in chess. And that would fall back to the rule number 1 that my dad, taught me: know how to win the game situation. So you'd have your 2 rooks basically working together, rook guarding rook. You like to have them, self-protecting, for example. So this is interesting. Now this is the checkmate formation that I know. I've memorized this one, and this one is easily memorizable, so I'm going to show it to you. Yes, I am correct. It's checkmate. Now, this is what, this is a really bizarre formation. This bishop and rook converge on g1. Now, you'll notice I'm going to have to hold this here so you can look at it. This is a checkmate. Now, the reason it is, the rook guards all these squares on the back rank. Those three are rook squares blocked. My bishop guards this square, so he's blocked. Blocked by the pawn, and the rook x-rays through the king to prevent him from playing king g3. So rook to g1, it almost looks like the sword from the original Legend of Zelda game, where this is the handle, and this is the hilt here, and this is the blade. The tip of the blade is where the rook is, all right? The handle is the g4 and g3 squares. Checkmate. So I sacrificed the rook to remove the defender. So that was a removal of defender and a checkmate. But white to move. Okay. So white to move and win is one of the rules we're playing. They don't tell you this, but they should tell you and win. All right. But it's understood. It's implied. All right. Also, 23 out of 50. I'm going for 50, 50 and 0. So just to let you know what's going on. Each one of these squares represents a number for the different problem of the difficulty. So the last one I did was 1270, nothing spectacular. All right, now here's one of the things that you'll see. You have a piece guarded by another piece. And if we can dislodge the defending piece, we can eat this one for free. So I can play F4 check. The king, if he takes the pawn, king takes free rook and it's game over. So C4 check, he goes, I'm not stupid. The only legal move that protects the rook is king to E4. Well, it worked once. I made him move off that square with F4 check. King to E4. I'm going to hit him with F3 check. And now he cannot go back to E5 because my F pawn is blocking. So he's going to have to go king takes pawn or king to E3, and then king takes free rook. Thank you very much, is what my father would say. King takes free rook. Yeah, you gave him a pawn. It's free. Let's just be honest. He resigns, as he should. Okay, what in the heck are we doing? That's a good question. This is a classic. Normally, you get this further down with a slightly different triggering move. The triggering move is G6. The queen, this is a mistake. Queen to H3 is a mistake. Now the question is, why is that move a mistake? He's trying to be a hot shot. He's getting, as my dad would say, he's getting fancy. And my dad's had another rule. Don't be fancy. All right? Don't be fancy. He needs to go and play something super solid. Black has an inferior pawn structure position. Inferior in the context of white has a queen and a bishop out to do some business. Now, he can't do a checkmate or anything like that, but he's thinking with the big head, all right? He's getting fancy. Queen E2 is a quite solid move. You're just going to play knight F3 and then castle. No, he's got to be a superstar. Queen H3. I'm like, what are you, on dope? D5. Now, this is the classic. The reason D5 is the move is, look, my pawn attacks his bishop. Oh, my bishop is now also attacking his queen. This is a double attack. He's in trouble. You're losing something. Queen's got to move. And then I'll just kind of play pawn takes free bishop. He moves, pawn takes free bishop. He took my queen. Well, you think I'm going to go king F7? King takes queen. Now look what happens. I have 4 minor pieces. He's got 3 minor pieces. I'm a bishop ahead. Thank you very much. My dad Told you. Don't get fancy. There's a time and a place for getting fancy. Preparation, well, if you do the proper preparation, then you can be fancy. And I'm going to play some moves that you're going to see today that would be fancy. But the preparation happens in tournament phase, okay? Where we're calculating the combinations, okay? We're doing the homework. If you don't do the homework, don't expect to make an A+ on your test. Pretty basic stuff, right? Now, this is a classic mistake. Remember, the two weakest squares, F2 for white, F7 for black. When you move the pawn from F2 to F3 or F4, or the pawn from F7 to F6 or F5, you're making the weakest square weaker. Jump on it with this queen. Queen H5 check. What are you going to do now, Bobby Fischer? King to E7? Double question mark? Well, queen to F7 is check. King to D6 is just really, really bad. You're losing. Knight to C4 is not a checkmate, but it's real close. All right? So he plays G6. Well, knight takes G6, genius. Look, this H pawn is pinned to this rook. If he takes it, I play queen takes rook. Hello. Goodbye. Don't move those F pawns in front of your king's position unless you're really prepared defensively. Well, what did he take? He took my bishop? Oh, okay. Now, the reason black took the bishop is because this illustrates a concept that I refer to as unstoppable checkmate. There's an unstoppable checkmate on B7 or H8 with this bishop here. So he kills the bishop. And so, in this case, the checkmate is stoppable by queen takes the bishop. But I'm going to play pawn takes queen, and I'm going to checkmate him on B7 anyway. It's still unstoppable. He resigns. Well, there's always a chance your opponent makes a mistake. Slim, but it's possible. Oh my, what is this guy doing? His king is under assault. You just saw me with the white pieces crush him by queen to H5. Well, now I'm going to go queen to H4 with a mirror image, same attack. In this case, he can't block it. The only legal move he has is, he doesn't have a legal move. He's already being checkmated. Look at this. Blocked, blocked. My knight blocks this square, so that's blocked. This bishop is blocking F1, blocked. So queen H4 check. This is known as an unblockable diagonal. Queen H4 is just checkmate. So I'm holding this a little bit so you can get a better visual read of what's going on here. Man, these people are crazy. Look at this. Man, we're on this guy like white on rice. All right. Look at this king. Blocked. My knight blocks it. My rook blocks the entire D file. Blocked by the bishop. Blocked by the bishop that's guarding this knight. This is open. Okay. Isn't this just checkmate? Because he can't move, right? We own every square. It's just checkmate. Now, one of the things I learned from a chemistry professor, and he was a really super genius, Dr. Garcia. He would ask us questions, like he'd show us this stuff, and it's like, any questions? And you're like 35 students in organic chemistry, and no one says a word, right? And he looks at us, and he's like, because he's a complete master of organic chemistry, he goes, look, I'm not trying to brag, but he's done all the work. So he's like, I'm here at this university because I'm a professional, PhD chemist, all right? And he goes, I get to play in the lab for free. I'm really, really good at chemistry. He goes, the problem is that when someone is very advanced in a subject, like Dr. Garcia, he said, that person makes the subject seem easier than it actually is because it's super difficult. And that is the most valuable lesson that I learned from his class, was that if you're really good at something, you can make it look easier than it is. You've seen Tiger Woods. He makes it look like a joke. So this is the thing. Or, anybody else who's really good at, whatever skill they have. Right? So, what in the heck are we doing here? Well, there's a concept in chess that I have to explain to you at some point, and I think I'm going to do it here. Because, it's one of those things that there's so many different tactical things we can do and sequences that you can learn that the list, if the list was made, it would be a long, I can't even show you how big the list would be. It would be just a monster list. So I do these problems because they show up in the real world as problems here to solve. And it's testing your knowledge, or as Mortal Kombat would say, test your might. All right? So look at this. Bishop takes free rook. Well, it's not actually free. He can play queen takes free rook, so he gets the free rook back. But we have another move. What this also does, bishop takes rook, queen takes rook. It dislodges this queen from protection here. Queen takes pawn check. So what we're doing here is decoying the queen away from the defense of this pawn. If I play on move 1, queen takes pawn check, he goes queen takes free queen, thank you very much, and you can take my rook, I have your queen. All right? So bishop takes rook. If he plays queen takes rook, queen takes pawn check, and now, as my dad would say, what are you going to do now, Bobby Fischer? Well, king g8 is the only legal move. Oh, look. Trying to think, what can I do here? I could play rook to g3 with the idea of discovered check. Oh, geez, even worse. Just bishop to h7 check. So bishop takes rook. No, that's not bishop. Go to h7, you imbecile. Yeah, that move looked really good because it was illegal. Bishop's on g4, not f5. In tournament face, you got to remember where that bishop moved to. Bishop takes rook on g4. Queen takes the f1 rook. Queen takes h6 check. King g8, I don't know. I'm thinking the move is like either bishop to f5 or rook to g3. I think rook to g3 is better because it gives me defensive responses against stuff like queen to f2. Now, the key thing is I could check him here. I don't really think that's the right move. Right now, the queen's diagonal fence, this king cannot move. So if I play bishop f5, now he would just play knight takes bishop. So that's not the right move. Bishop, if I could play this move, bishop to h7, this forces a checkmating sequence where he'd go king h8, bishop g6 check, king to g8, queen take to h7 check, king to f8, queen would take on f7, except the queen's guarding. Anyway, I can't do that. I think the right move is this. The threat is that I'm going to play bishop moves with check. Okay, this is the move I think that's the right move. To set up this discovered check idea that's just a monster. Like bishop to f5 check or bishop to e2 attacking this queen with this check of this rook. Because that's a checkmate. Yeah, he's annihilated, dude. He resigns. But this is the thing. That was what is known, that comes from the family of unstoppable checkmate. It was an unstoppable checkmate, sort of it was, but there was also the unstoppable discovered check. That bishop move was going to be nasty. All right. Oh, let's go back to my dad's rule number 2. What's he threatening to do to me? Queen takes free rook, checkmate. So that pretty much simplifies matters. I better check this guy or I'm in trouble. I better do something. If it isn't check, man, I'm telling you, I better do it quick. How can I defend this rook? Well, the answer is don't have much. Man, this is ugly. You tell me. I have no idea. Knight takes knight. Queen takes rook. King to f7. Queen takes rook. And then pawn takes pawn. So that's oh, I have another move. Rook to d7. This is the move I think that I have to play because the number one gets the rook out of dodge. Okay, he can't play queen checks. And I'm also threatening to take his knight and threatening his queen. If he checks me to get out of the threat, queen to c8 check, for example, king takes free knight, or queen to b8 check, king takes free knight. This move is an elementary, a very, very basic defensive move, but man, it looks like it's the move. What are you going to do, Bobby Fischer? I don't know. That looked like the move to me. I'm sorry. Everything else I do is terrible. So you tell me. Let's see what happens. Check. King here. I guess it's not checkmating. Whoops. I thought that was checkmating. Nope. My mistake. Well, my move also wins. Their move just wins better. So that's one of the rules that we have. Well, I got bishop takes rook. Pawn takes, and then rook is a checkmate. Yeah, whatever, dude. Now, how stupid are you? Are you stupid enough to play king takes free pawn? Because this is actually a shield. You take this pawn, rook to h1, and you're annihilated. Checkmate. So I can't do that. I can't go here to g8. Rook takes is checkmating probably. So the answer is I got to go king to here. No, I can just play pawn takes queen. Okay. I don't know. Sometimes it's just checkmate in 2 moves. He resigns because the next move is queen takes f2 check. Well, look at this. You see the kings are in opposition direct. So Mo, Larry, Curly, queen takes check, king to c1, queen to e3 check, and then if knight moves or king moves, it's checkmate. Just a checkmate, no biggie. Alrighty then. Now, what are we doing? A good question. Oh, we have an obvious combo. Look at this. This bishop hits h2. Now, one of the secrets in chess, this is a free bonus. The best defensive formation you can have of your king is the formation with the 3 pawns where they are and the knight here. He doesn't have the knight there, so there's a weakness, and the knight guards h2. The threat is, there's a threat here on h2 with the bishop. Bishop takes h2, king takes free bishop. Thank you, I win. But this is a fork. I'm going to fork him. The material is even. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pawns. It's all even. 6 pawns for us. 2 bishops and a knight, 2 bishops and a knight, 2 rooks and a queen each. The thing is a fork. I'm going to fork this bishop. This rook attacks this bishop. Well, my queen is going to attack this bishop. And also, it attacks the check. It's a threat of checkmate or queen takes free bishop. He'll give me the free bishop. Thank you very much. I'm a bishop ahead. I win. Alrighty then. Dude, this is just nasty. Knight takes d6 check. King has to move. Only move is king to d8. And isn't that just checkmate? Isn't that just a checkmate? The knight guards the light squares. The queen, oh, I can't go there because this queen's got it. Okay, well, I can just do this. Knight takes pawn check, just wins the rook. Or, no, queen to a5 check, unblockable diagonal. Queen goes in here, queen takes free queen, and that's a checkmate. Too many people will get greedy. As my dad would say, don't be greedy. Knight takes pawn check was winning. This wins faster and better. Oh, dude, you're asking for it. There's the weakness of f7 once again. So your mind should be looking at this. Now, I want you to practice tournament face, and I'm going to do it with you. I'm going to guide you. So follow this in your mind. White's going to look at queen to h5 check because, well, that's the weakness of f7. So we check him, but he's going to play the pawn up g7 to g6 to block the queen's check. But you'll notice the queen is also now attacking the bishop. My bishop attacks that bishop. So if I go queen to h5 check, he goes g6, I go queen takes bishop check. Actually, I have a better move. Or do I? I have bishop takes bishop check, but I don't think it's better. He would just go king to e8, and he's still attacking my queen. So if I go, and here's the thing. I looked at this line, I didn't like it. Go back to the beginning, start from the beginning. Don't try to backtrack mentally. Super difficult, and you're going to make a mistake. Maybe not this time, maybe not the next time. But if you do this, it's a bad habit. So, queen h5 check, g6, queen takes free bishop check, and whether he takes it or not is irrelevant, but queen takes my queen, bishop takes his queen with check again, and then bishop takes free rook in the corner. The whole point is this bishop is guarded one time by this queen. We're going to double attack it with a queen check. Take it, and then take this rook at some point. So goodbye, Charlie. We recapture with check. Bishop takes free rook is coming. There's nothing he can do about it. Okay. The move that jumps off the page at me is h4 check. This is a decoy move. King takes h4. This gives my rook to f4 check. Okay, so what? He goes king to g5. Well, and that's just a good question. So what? Oh, okay, if we do h4 check, king takes, maybe I can play rook takes h6 check. Yeah, that's nasty. Because if he goes back to g5, queen to h5, that's a checkmate. He resigns. It's a checkmate. f7, there's that king. You're asking to lose your bishop with this move. Now the thing is, if I check him, he's going to play king to g7, attacking my rook. Queen takes free bishop. King takes free rook. He gets a $5 rook for a $3 bishop. So that's good. Now here's the question. Do we have a better move? And here's the nasty answer. Queen to d5 check. And this is one of the things when you're playing in the master section and you play this move, the people are watching your game, because the people are going to watch games here and there in the tournament. They're going to go, oh, dude, he's going to win his bishop. So queen to d5 check, you play this, he's going to play either king to g7 is the natural move. Rook f7 is also not bad. But it's going to also fail because we're not going to take his bishop. We're going to checkmate this guy. What this is a concept I called sealing the pharaoh's tomb. We're going to force him to either block it with rook f7 or go king to g7 and hit him with rook to h1. King to g7. And his problem is, well, if he tries to defend with rook to h8, rook takes rook, queen takes rook, and rook takes queen. So it looks like, haha, I'm escaping. He's going to take my bishop. I'm going to take his rook. Yeah, I don't think so, Tim. Uh-oh. I called it. Rook takes rook. Rook takes queen. I'm still going to take your bishop. That doesn't do anything. There's no checkmate on the back rank because I'm not here on b1. Queen takes free bishop. As my father would say, thank you very much. All right, the obvious move is rook. Queen takes free rook check. King goes up here. This is the brute force technique. What's it do? It forces king d7. What can I do to him? Pawn takes bishop. What's the material situation? Right now, he's got 3 minor pieces and 2 rooks. I have 2 minor pieces and 1 rook. I'm a rook and a knight down. That's not good, man. Queen takes check. King d7. What can I do? Pawn takes rook. Isn't that great? I mean, pawn takes bishop. It's not that great. I don't have anything really. You got queen takes knight. Oh, actually, I guess I do have queen takes rook check, king to d7. If I play pawn takes bishop, is his knight trapped? His knight is almost trapped. Notice when I play pawn takes bishop, I own this square, e4. He can't escape. He can't. I own this b5 square, a4 I own with the bishop, a2 I own with the bishop, b1 I don't own. But the point is, queen takes rook check, king goes up, pawn takes free bishop, and now his knight is under attack. He's got to move it. So knight to b1, I have queen to b2, and his escape squares are cut off. His knight is trapped. This is the deal. You win this because his knight is trapped, and I realized his knight is trapped. Notice pawn takes knight. My bishop guards this. I'm good. It wasn't obvious, but I'm paying attention to what's going on. Black to move. We haven't had any really good endgame problems come up yet. That's kind of odd. Well, now we have one that's a killer for him. The idea here is that if we can exchange queens, this pawn is a queen. So I would like to play a move that puts me in position to exchange queens. Now, if I check him on this second rank, his natural move is to play king to g3 to get behind the pawn shield. So look, king to e2. Now, I'm going to show you the wrong move, which made me think of the correct move. Queen to d2 check, king to e3. G3. I'm like, I need to play queen to e5. This is the move I need to play, because that would be check and I'd trade queens. Well, I go, okay. So if I check him on d2, I can't go queen e5 on the next move, but I can go queen e2 check, king g3, queen checks, and it's over. We trade queens, and this pawn rolls to becoming a new queen in 2 moves. So, check. Where are you going to go? What are you going to do now, Bobby Fischer? Is what my dad would say. And he's got a problem. He can't go to g3. He can't go on the second rank, so he's got f1, g1, or h1. So queen e2 check. Let's look at the most basic move. If he goes to h1, queen takes f3 check, and he's really getting reamed. So king to g1. So queen e2 check, king g1, best move. And now we're going to hammer him. Queen to e1 check. At this point, he's stuck. He's got to go to the dark square. That'll help us. So queen e2 check, king g1, queen to e1 check, king to here. This is annihilation. No, he doesn't. Okay. It's game over. Now, the reason why this is a win, I'm going to teach you the two most basic rules of king and pawn endgames. This knight is so far away from this pawn that it doesn't even count as existing on the board for all practical purposes. So, the first thing is when a pawn is going to queen, it creates a square. This pawn on c3 creates a square 3 by 3. You count the square the pawn is on as 1. 1, 2, 3, which is the queening square. So 3 by 3. If his king is in this square, he can stop it. Well, he's not close. All right? That's rule number 1, rule of the square. Number 2, distant passed pawn, and that's what this is. A passed pawn is a pawn that cannot be caught by the opponent's king. He cannot catch this pawn. It's a distant passed pawn. Now, this one is also distant, but my king is in the square. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dude, I'm way in. This square goes all the way out to the G line. I'm close. He pushes this, my king will eat this pawn. So king takes queen. He's going to check me, knight f7 check, and then I'm going to play king to d5. Notice, his knight will be on this white square f7. I'll be on the white square d5. It takes 4 moves for this knight to touch this square. This is something you have to know. Can't make it, son. Can't make it, son. That's a queen. Okay. Well, the move I would like to play, just conceptually, is bishop to e5, protecting my rook. His queen looks like it's trapped also, but if I play bishop e5, he's going to play knight takes bishop, and my knight takes his knight, queen takes knight check, and I've lost a piece. But we have something called the removal of defender. Bishop takes knight check, and we take this with the momentum of check. It forces the response of pawn takes bishop. And now bishop to e5. What are you going to do now, Magnus? This dark diagonal is owned by my bishop, guarded by my knight. So his queen can't go there. His queen cannot go to b4 or a5. The pawn and knight block it. I own every other square here, c2, b3. It's over. Queen takes bishop, knight takes queen. I give you a $3 queen, $3 bishop for a $9 or $10 queen all day long, baby. And you'll notice how quickly and easily that was solved. All right. The thing that jumps off the board to me is I got this battery. Now, there's something else you need to know. Again, the battery is 2 pieces with the same powers. The bishop, the dark square bishop, and my queen acts like a dark squared super bishop. All right? So I can play queen g7 check, queen h8 check. But here's the thing. One of the things you have to be aware of. This is queens and bishops of opposite colors, which means each side is dominant on one color. I'm dominant on dark with my bishop. He's dominant on light with his bishop. So we're going to beat him on the dark squares at this moment. Sometimes the queen might switch colors for complementary attacks, complementary to the bishop. We complement a dark square bishop with a light square queen, or vice versa. So to me, the move that's obvious is queen h8 check. Well, why is this obvious? Now, here's why it's obvious from the other end, the back side. The back side would be, I'd love to play queen d8 check because it's a checkmate, because the bishop guards this escape square of g7, except he plays queen takes free queen, check, and you lose. So after seeing queen d8 check loses, queen h8 check, what does that do? Well, king e7, and now I got to play bishop to f6 check, giving me double control of d8. So queen h8 check, king e7, bishop to f6 check, guarded by the queen. And this narration that I give you tells you when I'm in tournament face, inside my brain, queen h8 check, king e7, bishop f6 check, guarded by my queen, safe. King d7 or king d6, either one is fine. Let's go king d6. I'm going to go queen to d8 check. That's a checkmate. Either one of those moves is checkmate. It doesn't matter. He's done. It's a forced checkmate. And this is what I saw is just winning. This is that same pawn, the same formation. Remember when I checkmated that guy with the rook? The tip of the sword. Here's the handle of the sword. The queen and this d6 square. This is the hilt. Now it's blocked by his pawn. My king blocks the other part of the hilt. So queen to the tip of the sword is a checkmate. You saw it with a rook and a bishop. Now it's queen and a bishop. Checkmate. Know your checkmates. That's one that's awesome because it occurred twice. Once I showed it to you with the rook, the second time with the queen. All right, now I got to look at this and, well, what the heck is going on here? Well, I can't check him. His knight guards that. I could play bishop checks here, but he's a freak. He'll play f3. I know I would. Well, this queen is a little, tightly guarded. So, I don't know. It's a toughie. Bishop takes f7. So the good news is, what's he trying to do to me? There really isn't anything he's trying to do to me, so I'm okay in that regard. I could also play bishop takes bishop, in case that means something. Oh, that means something. That's the deal. Bishop takes bishop is the winning move. And you ask yourself, well, why would you do that? Pawn takes bishop, okay? And this is the key. That is the correct question. Why would you do that? Well, the answer is, and if you don't have an answer, you don't know. I'm going to give you the answer, and this is the key. It's a clearance move. The clearance move means I'm going to get it out of the way. It's blocking something. What is this bishop blocking? Is he blocking the king? No. How about the rooks? He's not blocking my rooks. He's not blocking the other bishop because it's a different color. He's blocking the queen. Well, if this piece is gone, this bishop is off the board. Look what I can do. Queen to g4 check. I'm going to win that. I'm going to win that bishop, potentially. So let's look at this. Bishop takes bishop. Pawn takes bishop. Queen checks. Now he's got a knight to f3. Ha! I don't win this bishop. He guards it with knight f3, but I play queen takes g2, and now I fork rook and knight. I'm winning something. So bishop takes bishop. Pawn takes. Queen checks on g4, knight to f3, queen takes g2, and that's all she wrote. I don't care where you go. If you don't move the knight, I'll take it with check. If you move the knight, I'll take your bishop or your rook, depending. All right. Goodbye. Well, that doesn't do anything. Queen takes free bishop. I mean, now this is the thing I was talking to my brother. My brother is a math professor at a college. And I told him, it's like, keep your hand off the mouse. Why? For the same reason I just showed you. Now, I know that this is the right move. Queen takes bishop. But I didn't play it. Why didn't I play it? Because my chess eye told me that it was the right move. The thing is about chess eye is that you also have to remember you have something that's better than the chess eye. Eye sees the move, brain figures it out. So let's double check. We got plenty of time. You have plenty of time to win the game. You also have plenty of time to wallow in self-pity for being stupid enough to not use your brain to figure it out and make sure you're winning. What's he threatening to do to me is what my dad would say, rule number 2. Well, knight d5, that's nothing. He ain't threatening jack, okay? So it's okay. Queen takes bishop. 99.9% of the time, this whole combo is great. But I'm using mental discipline. Queen takes bishop. What are you going to do now, Magnus? Resign is the answer. Okay, just checking. It never hurts to check. Every player, grandmaster, whatever, has made the mistake of moving too quickly and then just hating himself for being that stupid. How can I be that stupid? It happens to everyone. It happened to Bobby Fischer. It happened to Magnus. It happened to Hikaru. It happened to Prague. It happened to Gukesh. Every guy that you see, Anand, every one of those guys, Nepo, have all done it. We've all done it. We don't want to ever do it again, but we probably will. But let's just make it 1 out of 1,000,000 instead of 1 out of 10, okay? That's the difference. So all these guys have done this, including myself and including yourself. I haven't seen you do it, but I know you did it. You haven't seen me do it, and I'm telling you I've done it. All right, so now what are we doing? This king looks like he's under assault. Better be, because we're down a queen. Well, the first move that comes to mind, knight checks on h5. Notice our knight guards this, block, 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 block. It's unblocked if I check him. Unblocked. So knight checks. He can play king g4 or king g5. If he goes king g4, we got f5 check. He can play rook takes. I don't like that. We can play knight e5 check. If he goes to g4. If he goes to g5, knight checks, king g5, f6 check. King g4, knight e5 is a checkmate. So not f5. f5 check, knight takes pawn, pawn takes knight. It's not checkmate. This is of the checkmating variety. Knight to e5. The reason e5, because if he goes to g5, I need f6 to checkmate him. Look at him. Block, 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 block. f6 will check him. So this is the winning move. It's just the little things that see the checkmate. You got to dot the I's and cross the T's, my brother. Well. All right, this is another super move, a super lesson for you. Again, I'm going to teach you one of my phrases that only I teach. And it's like, well, okay, what is that, master? The answer is, you've never heard of the shepherd square. What's the shepherd square? The shepherd square, if you have a pawn that's advanced going to pass, it's a pass pawn, it's going to queen, like his d pawn. This d pawn queens here on d1. The shepherd square is on the opposite side of the file. So the d pawn has a shepherd square on c2, the black d pawn. The black d pawn also has a shepherd square where the king goes on e2. So now he's threatening to go, Dad's rule number 2. What's he threatening to do to me? Check and queen check. That's terrible, right? So we can solve this problem. How? Well, one of the rules in endgames with pawns threatening to queen with a rook, and this is a rook in chess. This is a rook endgame rule. You got to know pawn endgame rules. You got to know rook endgame rules, and you need to know knight versus bishop or knight and bishop endgame rules. Usually, you'll get knight versus bishop covers both. The rule for rooks is rooks belong behind a passed pawn. The point being that if he pushes it to d2, if I play rook to d7, rook d2, d2 check is rook takes free pawn check and you're stupid. Now the problem is he's going to play c3 and it's going to get ugly fast. So that's not really getting it. Rook d7, c3. God, man, that's ugly stuff, bro. a7, d2 check. I guess I'm okay, though, because I just go king to e2, and he can't, if he queens it, I just go rook takes queen and knight takes rook, and then I queen my own pawn. So this is it. But the reason why this move is the move, once you know the rules of chess, the unwritten rule, it doesn't, the rules of chess, if you've ever read the rules of the piece moves, they don't tell you like these endgame rules, like the rook belongs behind the passed pawn. Once you learn this rule, it never goes away. It's in your brain forever. This is the key. I don't just make the moves. You can watch Hikaru make the moves, and he's better than me. But what I do that he doesn't do is I explain to you why this is a move, and I explain to you the most efficient way for you to learn the move. Now, could he do this? Yes, he could. But he's a tournament playing professional. And he also said, it was a great interview with Hikaru. Why don't you play? Well, actually, he interviewed himself, actually. He anticipated the question that he was doing streaming. He was like, well, Hikaru, why didn't you play in the Chess Olympics this year, the 2024? He said, well, it's because, and I knew the answer, but I wanted to make sure that I knew the answer. I deduced the answer as what it was. And the answer is he's a chess streamer. He makes more money making internet videos or demonstrating, playing chess, etc., because he's so popular, because he's so strong. He makes more money doing his streaming than he would by playing in the Olympiad and winning a prize, what have you. It's just that simple. He makes more money doing it, so that's what he's doing. He's not stupid. He's super smart. So he does that. He doesn't do these videos like I do because this is interesting to me. This is a dual video. It's a dual purpose. I'm teaching you how to get better faster to the best and most efficient way you can. I'm also getting better myself every time I do one of these videos. It's like sand going into your hand. You drop it in grain by grain by grain, and it doesn't mean much. And then eventually you get a pile. And in chess, your powers mentally accrue this information piece by piece by piece, tiny grain after tiny grain. And then you get the boom quantum leap of understanding. And this is how your chess powers increase. My chess powers are still increasing even though I'm 62 years old. And I'm really strong, as you see here. I'm annihilating these problems, explaining to you how they get annihilated. Yeah, you're done. Yeah, whatever, dude. I mean, I say it, the game does it. It's crazy, right? Queen, you can resign now. Making the moves is great. Knowing in advance that the moves are going to play that you predict, that's like the old commercial, priceless. All right, now here we go. We're white. He's black. Oh, well, you're dead. He's dead, Jim. All right, he's dead, Jim. I see it. My dad has the rules. I mean, all I'm doing is telling you my dad's rules that he ingrained into me. As I went from child who learned the game in the late 60s throughout the entire 70s. We were battling the entire decade. There's no internet. There's just television shows. We would watch TV shows, and then there was a TV show that we wanted to watch. My dad's like, let's go play chess. Sold. There's no video games, okay, at least for the first half of the 70s anyway. So that's it. We played chess, and we're like prisoners, criminals in prison. We write the score, dash, 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 dash number 4, and then dash 5 is diagonal for winning. Okay. So the thing here is, you're going to win this position. I'm going to give you a hint. Maybe you can figure this out yourself. It'll be awesome if you get close. You're going to win this with a fork. I don't mean a dinner fork. I mean a fork where your piece attacks 2 things, and that's the key. You might take 3 to 5 minutes to get this. Is not an easy one. It's easy once you understand what's available. Okay. until you see what the correct idea is. It's not easy. So don't feel bad if you don't get it. But after I show it to you, you're going to go, oh yes, I understand now, master. So, Grasshopper, 3, 2, 1. I am going to teach you the invisible fork. You should be looking at me like, what the hell are you talking about, you psycho? There's no invisible forks. Au contraire, there is. Here's the invisible fork. Knight to f6. And you're probably thinking, you're out of your mind. You're not forking anything. You're attacking a rook. That's true. But I'm also forking a checkmate. Uh-oh. Knight f6 threatens to take this rook for free. It also threatens to know your checkmates. My father's rule. Know your checkmates. Well, if you have a knight on f6, rook to h7 is a checkmate. Uh-oh. Now, can this rook get to a square to defend h7, which would be e7 or h4? The answer is, well, you can get there, but it's going to be taken. Rook takes free rook. Or rook takes pawn and king takes free rook. So knight to f6, devastating threat. I'm threatening an invisible target. There's nothing sitting here. It's just an empty square. Who the hell does that? Me, that's who. Knight f6. Now, what are you going to do, Bobby Fischer? You can check me. Rook to g1 check. But I'm going to counterattack this rook. Actually, that's not the rook I want to counterattack. I better counterattack the checking rook. King f3 loses to rook takes h4. That's where he wants to go to e7 or h4 to stop the checkmate. So, okay, rook g1 check. King h2. You want to take that pawn? You can have it. Rook takes pawn, defends the mate. King takes free rook. Uh-oh. You're done. This is the prescription. All right? Take your time. Got plenty of time to win and plenty of time to cry about it if you screw it up. But when you're seeing it, and if we see it, we're going to make sure, is this the best move? I don't see what he can do other than check me and I take his rook. Here, if I go king f3, rook takes, and he's safe. You're dead. He's dead, Jim. I'm a knight up, and I'm going to win his pawn too, that freak. Well, oh, yeah, it's so nasty, but I'm under check. You are a freak. Now, the gut reaction move, king h1, queen c3 check, that's not helping us. All right, so I'm thinking the move is king to c2. We're under check. What's he trying to do to me? He's checking me. And get out of check. I can't block it. So king c2, king c1. If I go king c1, queen is going to check me on c3. Again, this is no good. So I need this move. This is obvious. So when a move is obvious, you could sit back here in tournament face and go king to c2, and then the next move I need to play is fill in the blank. You're making it harder for yourself. If the move is obvious, play the obvious move first, get it on the board so you don't have to waste brain power moving this mentally. Simple. All right. What's he trying to do to me? Pawn takes pawn check. Looks good. All right. Now it's on. Okay. And I see a great combo. The great combo that I see is getting this bishop on d4 and attacking this knight and kicking his butt. All right? This queen is attacking this also, but right now the rook is blocking it. So if I went bishop to d4 and he played, for example, rook to g6, I could still just take this because I got 3 attackers. He's got 2 defenders. 3 beats 2 all day in chess. But rook g6 is not the right move. That's a bad move. Bishop to d4 is also a bad move. Like, we want to play bishop to d4, yes, but I want to play it when it's at its most effective. It's most effective if I go rook takes knight check. What? Yeah, rook takes knight check. Because he's going to take it, right? King takes rook. Now we hit him. Bishop to d4, your mama. Because guess what? It's a skewer of king and rook. I already got a queen attacking this rook. So check. He moves. Queen takes free rook. And I'm a bishop ahead. So long, chump. I do want to play bishop to d4, but I want maximum results out of my move. Hasta la vista, baby. Now, knight check looks like a devastator. So let's look at knight h5 check, knight takes knight. How about knight f5 check? Now it gets in the way of my bishop and rook combining here. But sometimes you got to give something to get something. Knight f5 check. What are you going to do now, Bobby Fischer? The answer is king h8. It's like the only legal move, right? I mean, he could go king g6, but that's just stupid. Knight takes bishop double check, and you can resign. Okay, so he's not going to play king to g6. Knight f5 check. King to h8. I got just knight takes. I can play knight takes free bishop. It's really strong, but he's going to play queen takes queen. I might have better than this. I could play. Well, heck, I could play rook takes pawn check at any time. What if I play rook takes pawn check? Takes pawn check. He'd play knight takes. Then I could hammer him with knight checks here. It's not doing anything again. King h8 is the problem. Well, I'm 100% terrible, but knight f5 check. King h8. What if I play queen takes? What's my situation? I am a piece down. I can win this bishop. 2, 4, 5 pawns. I've got an attack. I'm a piece down, but I can win my piece back. But by winning my piece back, I'm giving up. I'm cashing in too many pieces to continue an attack. Shoot. Rook takes pawn check. Knight takes rook. Oh, nasty. This is whenever I say nasty, you know it's over. Oh yeah, dude, this is super difficult. What is this problem? The last one was 25-50, 25-16. This will be about 25-50. This is a nasty one. Rook takes pawn check. What does that do? Knight takes rook, stupid. Now what are you going to do, Bobby Fischer? The answer, tournament face. Rook takes h7, check. Knight takes h7, queen to g6. You're toast, son. Removal of defender. It removes the defender. It decoys this guy off of blocking my access to g6, and this pawn is destroyed. This is a destruction sacrifice to decoy this knight to h7, allowing my queen and bishop to become a battery. Queen g6 check, queen takes knight, checkmate. So long, chump. What are you going to do now, Magnus? Get checkmated. That's what. This guy's in trouble, and I mean he's in big trouble. Okay. What was that one? That was 2590. This guy is trapped. You know, more or less. Now, what's he trying to do to me? Answer's pretty basic. Pawn takes free bishop. So, what you have to do when you play defense in chess, there's many ways to play defense. You can run away, you can interpose a piece, capture a piece. You can also attack something equally or more valuable. So he's threatening to take my bishop. So I need to threaten to take his bishop. And, well, one of the things you'll notice quickly is I'm not threatening to take rook takes bishop. I'm threatening to play rook takes bishop checkmate. So I'm threatening a little bit more. And it's better than rook to c8 because he would just move the bishop out of the way. This rook to e1 pins the bishop and it's gone. He's a dead man, okay? He's dead Jim for sure. So rook e1. Now he could play a3, for example. Rook takes, either rook can take, in fact, rook on c takes, check, king to a2, rook takes free, rook check again. I am annihilating, and I've got two rooks, a bishop, and a knight. Now he's going to take my bishop. Can't really stop that part. But I am cleaning house, so that's not bad. After I took that rook check, he's here. What would I do? I could check him with rook to f8 check. No, I'm sorry, that's not a check, you idiot. No, I would just play like, man, I want to guard this. I can't guard it. Yeah, like clockwork. Could do it. Let's go check here first. King to there. Yeah, I gotta do the double. He resigns. Alrighty. Would you believe? I don't know. I mean, I'm just winning this. Well, I'm winning something. What's the material? Queen, bishop, and rook. He's got queen, bishop, and rook, and knight and rook. He's got a rook and knight ahead, that freak. Okay. So, what do we have here? Well, we have rook checks. The reason rook checks is so devastating is that if he goes king to h1, queen takes rook as a checkmate. If he goes bishop forward, rook takes free bishop as a check, and you still got to move. If he moves king to h3, queen takes rook as check. Also, if I check him and he plays bishop forward, rook checks, king h3, queen h5 is a checkmate. This guy's annihilated. Now, queen takes rook is a checkmate. It's just that simple. I don't think that problem was correctly 2600 plus. It says it is. I don't believe it. That's my opinion. You live with whatever floats your boat. That other problem was much more difficult. The one where I played the rook takes pawn check, knight takes rook, queen to g6. That checkmating attack was much more difficult and much more satisfying to lay it on this computer. So anyway, 2656, whatever. We got 50. Always success if I get 50. It's unfortunate I was one short of my Hikaru challenge. What are you going to do? The obvious move to me, rook takes pawn check. What are you going to do now, Magnus? If you play your rook there, queen takes rook is a checkmate. So if he goes king to f8, queen to d8 is a checkmate. So king to h8, and I have queen to d8 check, or queen takes rook. I can't play queen takes rook if I don't check him. What's he threatening to do? If I take this pawn check, he's threatening the next move. If I don't check him, queen to f1, knight goes back, and queen takes free knight checkmate. He's threatening a mating attack. This is the obvious move. which I'm playing. Now, I'm going to check him on d8, and he's going to move a rook probably here. And now, what am I going to do, Bobby Fischer, is the question. Or the other idea is not to check him. Play a defensive move like a3, making space for my king. Or it's a toughie. But he's going to play bishop to d7 if I play a3. Oh, I have queen to e5 check. This queen d8 was the horse with blinders. That's why I can't see anything but that. That's the move. Queen to e5 check is another one. He's in trouble. And it looks like there's a semi-unblockable diagonal. Queen e5 check. If he blocks it with a knight, I could play rook to h6 check. King to g7. I don't know. I don't like that either. Queen e5 check. The rook comes forward. Again, my problem is basic. I must defend the checkmate attack that he has against me. Queen checks. Knight f6. Rook checks. He could still just go knight back there if he wanted to. Oh, I'm sorry. No, he can't. Because the bishop, the queen is there. So check, king to g8. And now what, Bobby Fischer? Queen d8 check, also no good. He just plays rook to f8. That's the obvious. This is the obvious defensive move. And always assume your opponent plays the best move possible. Well, I've got to get out of check is the key. I mean, not check, but he's threatening rook takes queen. So check, rook f8 again, rook takes queen is a threat, and I don't have a check here. Queen e5 check, knight f6. Now there's no checking going on, and if I play a3 to get out of the checkmate, I'm threatening now to play rook takes knight, rook takes rook, rook takes queen takes rook. I'm winning a piece, but nothing spectacular. Oh, I'm an idiot. Queen takes free rook, moron. Now, it's not check. I brainwashed myself. But I end up, queen takes free rook. Like an imbecile, I'm sitting here. And this was actually mentioned by a guy 100 years ago who was world number 2, Dr. Tarash. He was a medical doctor, so he invented the term chess blindness. I was just looking at chess blindness right here. Dr. Tarash teaches us, queen takes free rook, idiot. I'm defending the threat he has. His threat is checkmate. There's no threat. I just defended. Well, I'll take it. Oh, whatever. Remember what I said? You got all day to win the game within reason, and you got all day to cry about it for not winning it. Well, I ain't crying because I won it. Outstanding. Interesting. Grasshopper. He's got a vulnerability on h7. Remember, this is the best defensive formation for your king. The knight's missing, so h7 combinations crop up. Once you know this lesson, and it's a small lesson, very easy to learn. This is the best formation for your king, and if it's not there, you gotta watch out for h7. Look at this. Can't I just fork him with queen to e4, threatening a checkmate? Queen takes h7 is checkmate. And I'm also threatening to take his bishop. Now, The answer is yes. I'm also threatening a third thing, double attacking this knight. This knight is under attack. I could play knight takes knight. He goes queen takes knight, and your rook is screwed. But that's not the thing. Queen to e4 threatens checkmate on h7, threatens queen takes free bishop, and queen takes free knight. So right now we have two pieces for a rook. I have a rook, he's got a rook. I got a bishop and a knight back here. He's got a bishop and a knight. He's got a rook, and I have a bishop and a knight. So queen e4, f5 defends the checkmate and the bishop at the same time. He could play, actually, if he wanted to play it, he could play bishop to f5 as well, unweakening his king. Queen takes knight is crushing, because queen takes queen, knight takes queen, and now I've got three pieces for the rook. Oh yeah, you're screwed, buddy. See, there it is, bishop f5, like I told you. See, I saw this move defensively, which is a very good move, but it does create some weaknesses. And I realized, well, you just go bishop f5, doing the same job at defending bishop and checkmate at the same time. Yeah, well, he wrecks my structure. Whatever, dude. Well, the move comes to me so fast, it's not even funny. It's like I'm Hikaru. Well, I'm not, but in this one position, it's like I'm Hikaru. The move to me, rook takes pawn, check. King takes rook. Rook slides to g8, check. This is the destruction sacrifice. King to f2. Now, what are you going to do, Bobby Fischer? I don't know. Queen takes c5. Doesn't look that great. It's pretty good. If he goes king to e2, rook to g2 check is devastating. What about if he just goes king to e1? So rook takes pawn, king takes rook, rook checks, king f2, queen. Oh, well, if I take this pawn, he can just play queen to d4. What a jerk. Hey, I don't like that either. Well, I could take this first. Could play check here. Rook up doesn't work because rook back to d1 is crushing. It's a Three Stooges checkmate formation. So that's a queen takes pawn check. He can't block. See, normally you'd say, well, queen takes, he blocks, and that's not working, and we cut it off after two moves. Move one is queen d1. I mean, queen takes pawn. Move two is rook f2. But you need the combination is x moves that I looked at, but x plus 1. So the third move is, what are you going to do now, Bobby? Oh, you can't play rook f2. That's a checkmate. So queen checks, king to the corner, forced. You don't have a choice. Might be good. You can still play rook takes pawn check. I mean, rook takes pawn. It's not a check, but it's still strong because if he takes it, rook to g8 check is nasty. Well, sort of. Oh, man, that's a good one. We do have rook takes pawn check, king takes rook, rook to g8 check, king to f2. We could take this, king to d4, and then we could play queen to g5. Might be devastating. Threatening queen to g2. Hard to say for sure. We definitely don't want to trade queens. Queen takes queen is a mistake. He's got 4, 7, and he's got all 8 pawns, and we got 5. We're 3 pawns down. We're not trading queens. We're not winning pawns either. We're also a knight and 3 pawns down. But these guys are out of the game. They're not involved. The question is, it's queen and if I exchange that, it's queen and rook. Queen checks. King to h1. Oh, nasty. Nasty move. This is it, man. Queen takes pawn check. King to h1, it's a bump and score, right? Now, normally bump and score is a checkmate. However, sometimes bump and score wins material. And then there's the third one that I don't even think about until just now. You bump and score. The score is not a checkmate. It's not winning material. It's a positional crush. Queen takes pawn check. King to h1, best move. Queen to f2, eat this. I'm threatening to take this and checkmate him. I'm threatening to play queen takes g2, checkmate. So he can't take my queen with the rook because I'm threatening rook to d1 check is another checkmate. Yes. King to b8. Don't get stupid. I need my rooks on the open lines, okay? Yeah, king takes free queen. You lose, buddy. Outstanding. Rook takes rook. Fatality. Yes. You just saw that. That was a 28-39. I mean, I've beaten those problems before, but whenever you find that bump and score was the best bump and score I think I've ever played. That queen to f2 move was a nasty move. That's a big boy nasty. So here, we're a bishop down. What's he threatening to do to me? Queen takes checkmate and queen takes free rook. So the move that jumps out is queen to g5 check, guarding the rook, also forces his king to e6. Well, I could play rook to e8 check, and then he could go. Oh yeah, that's a monster move, dude. Queen g5 check, king e6 is forced, the only move. Rook to e6 check. Well, what are you going to do, Bobby Fischer? The problem he's got, he can't play king to e6 because queen to g8 skewers his queen. Can't do that. Queen check. King e6. Oh, well, he's got king technically. Oh, yeah. King e6 only move. Rook to e8 check. King to d6 is possible. I'd play queen takes e5 check. Where are you going? That's a checkmate, sir. This is a queen corner checkmate. If his king is here and my queen is here protected, that's a checkmate because I own this square by the pawn. His rook blocks this one, and the queen owns every other square. This is known as the queen corner checkmate. Taught this to a guy I met on YouTube, and the same day he sent me a message back that he used it in a game and won a game off of it. He was completely thrilled, as he should be. Queen g5 check. King e6 only move. Rook to e8 check. Queen to f7 again skewers the queen. You're dead, buddy. Yep. Well, he can't go there because now in chess, when a strong player tells you he can't go there profitably is the missing word. He can go there, but it's going to cost you. It's going to be real expensive. Queen to g8 check. Queen takes pawn check. Queen skewers and wins your queen. Outstanding. That is a 28-76. Okay. Doesn't bishop takes free knight just win? Bishop takes knight. Bishop takes bishop. Queen takes f7 check. This is removal of defender. King to d7. And now, do we want to hit him with bishop to e6 check? It's one of those, I think it's a funny move. Oh, actually, we'll play bishop takes f7 check. King to d7 might be the right move. Maybe not. So, King king to here. I can play queen to e6 check. King would go to... King to c6 looks devastatingly bad because of bishop d5 check. So king to c7, and what are you going to do now, Bobby Fischer? Bishop takes knight's got to be the winner. Could be bishop takes check here. Oh, yeah, I just win this bishop. What are we at? We're all even. Bishop takes knight. Bishop takes bishop. Bishop takes f7 check. King to d7 forced. Queen h3 check. King goes to like c7. Queen takes free bishop. I'm just winning a piece for sure. It just wins a piece. At the very least. Easy. Not a 2,900 plus problem, but it was easy for me, you know. And that's one of the things. Some problems are easy for you. Some are easy for me. You know, whatever. It wasn't, you know, normally when you see that sequence, it's going to be checkmate oriented. Wasn't checkmate oriented, unfortunately. What's he trying to do to me? Rule number 2, bishop takes my queen. This is what he's threatening. So how can I stop that? I can't play knight to g4, bishop takes queen. Now, there is a possibility, thinking, I can play, well, no, I can't play that. I was thinking queen takes h2, but king takes isn't forced. I could play knight to g4, threatening to take his queen. He takes my queen, I take his queen. Nothing has been gained. Another idea I have is knight to c4, takes my queen, I take his queen. We're not getting anywhere, though. So it's like I need to move somewhere to threaten something to then play a hammering style of move, which I don't know what's going on. Right now, the only move that comes to mind is queen to g4, and that doesn't look very good at all. Queen to g4 does threaten knight checks, though. This move threatens to play knight to f3 check. So queen to g4. What are you going to do now, Bobby Fischer? He's got bishop to e2. That stops it. Stops at knight f3 anyway, for sure. I could play queen to f5. Same story. I have the same check threat. I also have queen takes f6. So queen f5. If he plays bishop to d3, he's got 2 defenders, I got 2 attackers. I could play just simply queen takes f6. This bishop is really strong on this diagonal if I take this pawn, but I can't really take this pawn. Oh, can I? I don't know. He's threatening to take my queen also, my knight. That jerk. He's threatening to take, man, this guy's a freak. So here's a goofy eye. Look at this goofy move I found. This defends my knight and also defends my queen and threatens to do some nastiness. I gotta analyze this and it seems idiotic, but I'm gonna show it to you because this is the price you've earned. Queen to e6 is ridiculous looking, right? He can play pawn takes queen. I can play knight checks, queen takes knight, bishop takes, and it's just even there. Queen f5 stops that. Queen takes knight, though. Bishop takes, I get to play queen to takes f6, defending my knight, threatening now to play this. I don't know, it looks good enough for me. Oh, you freak rod. Well, would you believe I can play knight g4. He takes my queen. Knight takes his queen. He moves his rook. Knight g4 looks like the best move I have. I don't have queen takes rook because he's got queen takes queen, and I mean I can check him, and if he goes to the light squares I can move with a discovered check, but it's not like checkmate. So queen takes rook check, queen takes queen, knight f3 check. If he goes say king to h1, realistically I can play knight h4 check. He can't play bishop takes. Well, actually, he could play bishop takes and bishop takes. I'm only winning 2 pieces for that queen. It's not a good deal. What if I play knight checks now? Rook takes. That still stinks. Oh, no. Wait a second. I've got an idea. Knight takes, rook takes. Well, you could play queen takes too. And then if queen takes d5. Nope. So what if I play knight to g4, rook takes, knight takes, and he just goes back, rook to f2, for example. And then bishop takes d5, I guess is the move. I got knight takes d5 or bishop takes d5. That's pretty solid. It feels wrong. It feels like I need to be doing more. Knight g4 just doesn't seem that great. Queen takes rook, man, I'm telling you. Queen takes. I don't have anything else really except knight checks. King g2. It isn't that great. I can draw this. What am I doing? I'm a piece ahead, right? I'm a piece ahead. So yes, I can play this and just trade queens. I'm a piece ahead, moron. My dad's rule number 1, know how to win the game situation. I had never counted until you heard me say it. I never counted I was a piece ahead. Okay, this is king and pawn endgames. And this is where I am super strong. Geez, I hope I don't blow this because I just told you I'm super strong. Now, I've given you a hint already in the previous problems how to do this. This one is awesome. Let me do this tournament face business for you. And this is how you win this game. Remember what I told you, rule number 1 for king and pawn endgames is square of the pawn. 1, 2, 3, 4 by 4. His king is in the 4 by 4 that I'm drawing. So that means if I push this pawn, he'll kill it. Can't push this pawn. Now, he's got a passed pawn, and it is a distant passed pawn. This is the rule number 2. And if I don't queen this pawn, he will kick my butt. And if I chase this pawn down, he'll just take this pawn and then take this one and win the game. Because there's another rule that when you're in a position like this, you can never take the backwards pawn because he queens the other one once the other guy's out of the way. The answer is a king move wins this game. I'm certain of it. The most obvious king move here is to take opposition, king to g4. Now let me do a quickie tournament face for you. Oh, I'm like Home Alone. Oh, I go yeah, it's over. I win this because of the tournament I told you about, shepherd square. Where's the shepherd square? Well, this pawn is the one that's going to queen, right? We can agree on that. Shepherd square is on either adjacent file, and it will be either f2 or d2. Well, it can't be f2 because this king is right next to it, and I can't play this move. It's not legal. So that's out of the question. So process of elimination, I need to go here. Well, I can go king e5, king d4, etc. Or I can realize that Normally, you don't want to block your pawn, except when the best move in the game is to play king to e3 double exclamation. Shepherd square, it's over. Now that's wrong, dude. That's just winning. That is just winning. All right, well, whatever, dude. We're gonna play. Well, let's just see. What are you telling me? There's no way. That is absolutely winning. Stupid. It's telling me that it's going to take me one, two, three, 4 moves to queen. So 1, 1, 4. I queen and he queens here. All right, let's just go with their idea. He's just going to push the pawn, stupid, and I'm going to push it. It's the same, right? Let me look at this again. Right, king to d2, and I queen in 3 moves. If I go here, he's going to queen in, he'll queen in 4 moves. I'm going to queen in 3 moves, which is exactly the same. He can play a6, queen, a6, e2, a7, queen. I'm sorry, I'm missing the count somehow. This is the correct move, which I got. And it says king to d2 is not correct. Because he could just play a5, which he plays there anyway. So he moves out of the way, like I did. He moves the pawn, and then queens in 3 moves. I go 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. And... but I'm not on the shepherd square. Okay, yes. He plays a2. I'm sorry, a7. I queen. Oh. I see it now. Yeah, king to d2 is good, but when I queen and he queens, he's going to play a7, I queen, he queens, and I can play queen takes pawn. That's one of the moves I can play. Oh, no, idiot. Oh, no, it's queen checks here. Queen takes queen, king takes queen, and then I eat this pawn and queen. My mistake. The one time that you'll see a problem where shepherd square doesn't win is that problem. That's a grain of sand that I just learned. Oh, makes you a little bit stronger, dude. I'm telling you. If you make a mistake like that in a problem like this, that was a really hard one. 3,000. So that was a hard one that makes you stronger. So you got to learn a valuable lesson. Knight checks. Knight takes pawn check is the obvious move. Now he's got 1, 2. This one doesn't defend because the queen's pinning it. So knight takes, rook takes, rook takes. Okay, I can play knight takes. He plays rook takes. I can play queen takes knight, threatening to take this pawn. Check. He takes this. Yeah, I can't play rook takes. He plays queen takes, and I'm screwed. So knight takes pawn, rook takes. Queen takes knight. He plays rook takes rook. Rook takes check. King to there. Check again. King to f7. Rook to h7. Check. King to e6. h6 check, king to e7, queen to h7. I mean, that just looks winning. This looks winning with this move here. Okay, you caught me. I have no idea what that is. Why is that not the move? That looks like the move. Queen to f7 check, followed by, if it goes rook back, then queen to f7. I didn't even look at that move. Whoops. Let's look at it. I'm sure that's the move, queen f7 check. Right, if he goes rook to g7, queen takes, well, that doesn't work either. What the holy heck? Queen takes d5? I don't know, it doesn't look very good. Yeah, I got that. He's threatening, you know, he can't take my rook because rook takes pawn check as a checkmate. So, I'm still gonna play. Oh, rook takes free rook. Oh, no, you can't. You get the queen's under attack. So you take the queen, then rook takes free rook. You're just an exchange ahead. That's winning. Oh, that was a really crazy one. Queen f7 check. Rook to g7. What is wrong with rook to g7? Oh, queen takes rook checkmate. That's what's wrong with it. Duh. Okay, now to be honest, I never saw queen f7, never looked at that move. Because I thought for sure queen takes knight is devastating. And then, like an idiot, I realize now that queen to f6 is the move that defends it. I got lazy and I didn't look at my defensive moves. I would have seen, or his defensive moves, I would have seen queen to f6, which I just, saw here like this. So I was lazy. I thought this was so winning. I did look for defensive moves like queen to f8 or f6. So I would have had to have gone back and tried to figure out that queen f7 check is the next logical move. The only other move, there's really only two moves, queen takes knight or queen f7 check. So the lesson I give to you on this problem is that my mistake was I was lazy. Don't be fancy. There's another version of laziness sometimes. So you got me on that one. They got me on this problem with the king and pawns because it was the one exception to where the shepherd square isn't the winning move. And this one was, which one was that? I was out of the problem. Okay, so, man, great problems, awesome lessons. This is how I got super strong, all right? By showing you these things and giving you these lessons that my dad gave to me, and you see how powerful they are. That 3000 problem was a killer, but the one over here was just absolutely nasty. That was absolutely nasty. Oh, actually, that wasn't the nasty one. This is the nasty one, right? This was a nasty one, actually. What the bishop takes to just win the bishop. That was a nice one. Man, so close. Well, it's okay. 56 is tremendous. This is not my record. My record is 58. But 56 is devastating. Very, very hard to match. So you're seeing this yourself. It's not fake. This is what my dad's rules do to you. You pound those every day. Now, you're not going to get to where I am in a short period of time. There's other lessons you need. You got to work on those endgames. Pawn endgame rules, rook endgame rules, bishop and knight endgame rules. Okay? But you can't go wrong with that, man. That was just great. That problem I missed in the king and pawn endgame because I missed that move It's a draw, not a loss. That's the difference there. So, great stuff. This is it. If you follow these, you're going to be good. It's just a matter of, if you do your homework, you'll be good faster. If you don't do your homework, you can still be good, but it's going to be slower. It's up to you. So, great stuff. Glad you were here. I played some awesome games here on this. It was just fantastic. I'm super thrilled. Can't wait to do it again tomorrow. So, hope to see you guys then. Best of luck in your games. Get strong fast. Use my dad's rules, man. They work every time. You see, the proof is in the pudding. So, I'll see you later. Take it easy. Thanks again. Always like and subscribe.